Hello there, Magic the Gathering fans. This is Brian from Less Magic, More Gathering. Ready to do our Volume 7 deck tech random card draw with Shadowed Caravel. That's what we got this week. And if you've kept up to date on some of our posts already, Keith has already posted on Tapped Out the Tomb Robber version with Shadowed Caravel in it, since it's got a lot of likenesses, being that they're Explorer options. So you can check that out on Tapped Out, as well as this one will be posted as well. There'll be a link on this video for that. So that's what we're going to do today, Deck Tech. Before I get started, I want to do a shout out to one of our local, or another YouTuber, new YouTuber, Nukadon. He a fresh start to the YouTube videos, at least for Magic the Gathering. Seems fairly new and knowledgeable to the game, though. They got some good videos on there, some deck tech videos, some gameplay videos. Also has a giveaway for his 100 subscriber mark as well, so we want to push that out for him. So hopefully he gets his subscribers where he is trying to get to and get a giveaway also. So that's Nukadon. There'll also be a link on this video as well for that guy. So give him some support, just like us. We've been started off slow and we're moving on up, so all the more support we can get out there, the better. So just want to do that. Get him out there. Hopefully they'll do the same for us. Supporting you, Nukadon. And let's get into this deck tech. All right, here we go. So Shadowed Caravel is our card that we got randomly selected. It is a 2-drop artifact vehicle. Whenever a creature you control explores, put a 1/1 counter on Shadowed Caravel. So that's the basis of this deck. What we decided to do, obviously 4 copies of this, but what we decided to do was go with a flying base and try to kind of go a different route, since we already had a counter or an explorer deck that we had built from a previous one of these deck techs. So we wanted to go a different route, so we went with flying creatures and tried to really push the Explorer with a different way instead of doing heavy creatures that have Explorer. We have some in this deck, but we went with the spell option to try to enhance that feature. So go ahead and I'll get into the spells first. There's not very many, but so we got the 4 copies of Shadowed Caravel, and so the first and most important spell for this set is going to be, or for this deck, is going to be the Path of Discovery. So we're going to do 4 copies of the Path of Discovery. And it's a 4-drop enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it explores. So now we thought about putting this in the deck with the Tomb Robber, but we changed our mind since we had so many other options. We figured we didn't need it. But I like the card. It's a really good card for if you're doing a heavy Explorer option. It's really benefits you. So if you got creatures that already have Explorer, they're going to do it twice. So that's a big benefit. So we got 4 copies of that. And then our other spell is same thing, only it's just a simple sorcery of that. We're going to do 4 copies of Enter the Unknown, 1-drop, target creature you control explores. So anything you have on the field to play, obviously, allows you to give that creature an Explorer. Plus, you have the option at the bottom option, but there is an option, so you may play an additional land this turn. So if you do have too many lands in hand and you happen to have this and a creature out there, you can get another land on the field to play, and then hopefully give that creature a counter and get some cards moving through your deck. Alright, so those are the only spells we have. We decided to go heavy creature. Like I said, everything in this is pretty much base flying. I don't think there's maybe 1 card that's not, but that's okay because it's a benefit to the deck. So we'll start with our low cost, and the lowest cost we have is 2-drop for creatures. So we went with Skyship Plunderer, 4 copies of that. It's a 2-drop from Aether Revolt. Creature, human, pirate, flying. Whenever a Skyship Plunderer deals combat damage to a player, for each kind of counter on target permanent or a player, give that permanent or a player another counter of that kind. So that kind of benefits you. So like if he's out in the field of play and you swing and you have one of your creatures with the Explorer counter on already, or even Shadowed Caravel, target permanent. So yeah, Shadowed Caravel gets a counter, so you can put that target. You got to pick one though, so you can increase the counters on. So that's a benefit. Why we went with that one, because you can obviously increase the counters just by swinging with this guy. So 4 copies of him, and then we went to another 2-drop Stormfleet Aerialist from Ixalan. Creature, human, pirate, flying, raid. Has raid, so Stormfleet Aerialist enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you attack with a creature this turn. So that's also helpful. So you play him. after you've had your combat phase, swing with Skyship Plunderer, or you pump your creature up with another counter, and then he comes in with a counter on top of him, so that increases his strength, and he's a 2/3 flyer. And then hopefully that can be an option for Plunderer next time around. You can increase his strength as well, if that's the option you go with. So I only went with 3 copies of that this time, so we had to make some adjustments this week during play, and that's why we moved it down to 3. I think I had it at 4 originally. Alright, next one, a 3-drop. This one's a pretty common. It is a common for Ixalan. Siren Lookout, 3-drop. It's flying. When Siren Lookout enters the battlefield, explore. So it has an explore on its own already. So if your Path of Discovery is out there and this comes in the field of play, you could explore twice with it. Now it's not super strong, but it is another flyer, and pesky flyers can, you know, really irritate people, and, you know, probably win you the game sometimes, just depending on how the cards play out. But went with 4 copies of that Siren Lookout. And then also we went with another Explore card from the Ixalan as well. Emissary of Sunrise is a 3-drop. Creature Human Cleric. First strike when it enters the battlefield, it explores. So that also is another option for a dual Explore if Path of Discovery is out there. So that's beneficial, and it's also, this is not the flyer, this is the first strike, but it's still a decent card, so first strike's always a pain whenever you're having to combat against it. So hoping you can get those counters to strengthen that to a 3/2. That's always good. Next one went with Resplendent Griffin. It's from the newer set, Rivals of Ixalan, 3-drop, 1 plains, 1 island, and 1 colorless, or of any color. Creature Griffin flying and has a send option if you have a permanence or more against the city's blessing. So whenever Resplendent Griffin attacks, you may have the city's blessing. If you have the city's blessing, you may put a 1/1 counter on, not may, but will. So we put a 1/1 counter on it when it attacks if you have the city's blessing. So that's a good card. It's cheap. That's why we went in there. It's only 3-drop, and it has options to it as well. Plus, if you have Path of Discovery, that comes out as where it starts as a 3. So it builds up real quick if you got your City's Blessing. And with all these creatures and even the permanents out there, the artifact and the enchantment, that'll increase your opportunity to get that City's Blessing with this deck. So I thought that was a good option for that one to go in the deck. And our last creature is everybody's favorite, or a lot of people's favorite, Aerialist. We've talked about this one in a couple of our deck techs because we weren't sure if it was going to go into our deck that we had or what. But everybody likes this card, or at least I think they do. I didn't like it at first because I just didn't like the fact that it had all those options. It was flying, lifelink, and vigilant. So if you don't know what it is, obviously he's got it on it's going to be up on the screen here. It's a 3-drop creature, dwarf, soldier, flying, vigilance, lifelink. It's a 2/3. So I mean, it is what is on the card. It's pretty effective, and that comes in after Path of Discovery's out there. It's a 3/4. So more the merrier. That's the one I would probably pump if I had creatures that need to be pumped because it keeps you alive if you need a lifelink, and it's always on the battlefield to block even when you're swinging. So that's always a plus. We like that card. So I went for 4 copies of that. I might have missed it earlier, but 4 copies of Resplendent Griffin and Emissary of Sunrise. But if I didn't, I did. Oh, I'm sorry. I got one more creature. I totally forgot. So the adjustment was that we took out another Explorer card, creature card that we had. It was 5 cost. I just thought it was too expensive to really be effective in this deck because everything else is at 4 or less. So went ahead and popped it out, and then when Keith decided, he's like, well, you know, this might be an effective card, so let's put this in here. And he thought Angel of Condemnation would be great because of its ability. So obviously, if you know anything about Angel of Condemnation, you know what it can do. It has it's a 4-drop, but when it's on the field of play, you pay 3, and tap this creature, exile target creature card until next end step. So that could work out in your favor in 2 different ways. It could protect you from your opponent's creature that you don't want on the field, or if you want to add another counter to one of yours that didn't get its Explore counter, you can pop it off the field, bring it right back, and it explores when it comes back into the field of play. So that's something you can think about doing too. But I went with 4 copies of the Angel of Condemnation. It's also a flyer, so it's a pretty decent card in all different kinds of settings for this game. So we went ahead and added that in there. So that's the creature and spell base for this deck. Like I said, I tried it out a couple times this week. Didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. Didn't get great draws, but I revamped it through Tapped Out, and it had quite a few good draws in Tapped Out. And I know I'm not playing against an opponent, but I could see where it would work out really well if I was able to get past a certain level. This is not really a fast deck, so if you're playing somebody that's slow, like your deck is, then you might have a better advantage on them. If they're way too fast and they get you down half life before they're into turn 4, you might be in trouble. So don't expect this to be a killer aggro. It's not. It's blue, white, green. So, but it's still fun. It's got a lot of cool things to it to play. But so that's why we did the adjustment as well with the Angel of Condemnation. We switched a few things out, but I like the way it's set up. It's a good idea to kind of go with flying. We haven't really done a lot of heavy flying things that I can think of in these past few decks we put together. So going with flying. For our lands, pretty basic. Obviously, 4 copies of Glacial Fortress. That's your blue-white fast land. As long as you control a plane or island, it comes in untapped. So that's 4 copies of that. That's a plus getting that one in there. There's plenty of other cards, like you got Botanical Sanctum and Sun Petal Grove, which are your faster lands, a little more expensive. If you want to go with those because you want to pay the money for them, that's fine. We budget usually half the time when we do these, or whatever we have, and I didn't have those, so I wasn't going to go out and get them. But you can do Woodland Stream, 4 copies of that. It's your blue-green dual land, and then you can also do, I lost them, Tranquil Expanse, 4 copies of Tranquil Expanse. Was the other dual-colored land we went with, and then 5 copies of Plains and 5 copies of Island cards, and that's what I went with for mine. 22 lands, since it's kind of a low creature mana cost type of deck. I didn't think we'd need a whole lot, and Keith agreed. I think he's the one that kind of set that up for 22 lands. So that's our Deck Tech Volume 7, Shadowed Caravel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching some of the, or listening, I guess for the most part, and seeing on the screen the cards that we use for this deck, and maybe you got an idea of how you'd change it or adjust it, however you want to do it. The sideboard stuff, like I said, if you need it to be a little faster, I guess there's always that option to get rid of some of the explore spells and try something different, maybe to protect you from a faster deck. Or if you got to put the graveyard stuff in there, always have that in the sideboard right nowadays, because that's what's been going heavy. So you can do that. But I hope you liked the video, and again, we're getting real close. Last I checked, we were at 89, so we got 11 left, and there's 3 days on our time frame to get that giveaway by Sunday. So please pass that along. Get as many other people you can added into it. And like I said, if you got a friend or two that does YouTube but doesn't really play Magic, but they get drawn, hey, maybe they'll be that draw for you, and you can get the cards from them. I don't really care. However you want to do it. We want subscriptions, so please do that. Check that out. Check all the other videos out, and like, share, whatever you need to do. And don't forget to hit up on Nukadon's YouTube page as well. Check him out. And check our tapped out decks. I'm going to add a few more decks on there that I've done previously that I didn't add before, because I didn't even realize he had set one up for us. So that's my bad, but there'll be more on there you can check out from our previous videos. So please do that as well. All right, and we'll see you. Actually, I can't draw. We usually draw a card today.
Brian,
I can do that.
Calm down. I'm sick, not dead. I got this. I got my phone here. We're going to get us a new card selected, because it'd be wrong if we didn't. Appreciate you doing that video without me there. I felt like I was going to die. Random card. Can you see that? Because in my screen it's backwards. But let's flip it over so you guys can view it first. Oh man, I recognize that art, but I don't know what the card is. Madcap Experiment. Sorcery. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact. Put that card onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed this way. So it looks like we're building an artifact deck. That's going to be a whole ton of fun. Hey, like Brian said, go check out Nukadon. Link in the description right down there. My memory card thing is flashing. No, that's my battery thing. My battery's about to die. I gotta go. Brian, thanks for doing the video without me today. Check out Nukadon. Madcap Experiments coming next week.